record and computer. Right. Okay. Hi, good evening, guys. This is Dr. Jenny, physical therapist and doctor of physical therapy, creator and founder of Balance and Fall Support Group in Aging Adults and Physiogen TP and Wellness. I'm the current vice chair of Global Health in Aging Special Interest Group by Academy of Physical Therapy Association, certified exercise expert, and geriatric clinical specialist. Today, for our Thanks God, it's Thursday. I am so excited to introduce to you our Dr. Claire McLean. All right. I pronounce it right, guys. And Dr. Claire McLean is a doctor of physical therapy, physical therapist, and a neuroclinical specialist. And she is the CEO and founder of Rogue Physical Therapy based in Orange County, California. And she is a specialized in power, PWR. It's more an exercise and exercise for Parkinson's disease. And we will learn more about it. And she's also the co-founder with Erin for the NeuroCollaborative. It is a Neurospark group, and we will learn more about it. That's a wonderful group, mentoring. We have coaches with Dr. JJ as well, and they will be going to explain more about this kind of things that helps us, especially geriatric neuroclinical specialists. All right. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you and give you the floor. Hi, Dr. Claire. Welcome to Balance and Fall Support Group and on our podcast. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. I am so excited. And then I am so blessed to know you. And so how are you right now? Where are you based? I know you're in Orange County, California. So how's the weather there?
The weather is very nice right now. We've had the spring can actually be a little bit gloomy here. We're near the water, so we can kind of get some overcast weather. It's not always hot, but the weather's been really nice. It's been sunnier and it's been beautiful out. So yeah, I need to be outside more.
Yeah,
But yeah.
it's very hot here. I'm based in Delaware, so that's how. All right, so I have a quick question for you, Dr. Claire. All right. So I just want to know, as a physical therapist, can you tell us more about your specialty? I know you're based more focused in physical therapy for Parkinson's disease. You're specialized in Parkinson's disease. Tell us more why you chose Parkinson's disease as your specialty and neuro.
Yeah. So when I was in physical therapy school I went to University of Southern California for physical therapy school, and we were just really fortunate to have a really strong neuro curriculum there. We had Dr. Kathy Sullivan and Dr. Beth Fisher, some really amazing kind of pioneers, I would say, in the world of neurologic physical therapy. And so those were my professors. When I went to PT school, I didn't really have a specific area within PT that I knew I wanted to do. I came from a sports background. I played soccer. A lot of my friends needed physical therapy, so I was kind of familiar with that. But once I started school, I really found that I was much more passionate and interested in working with people with neurologic conditions. I loved the fact that, our interventions were really activity based, helping people get back to being able to do the things in their life that they really wanted to do after potentially, life altering experiences like having a stroke or being diagnosed with a serious health condition. So in PT school, I kind of, in our first neuro semester that we had, I just really loved learning about it. I loved starting to work with people. And after doing physical therapy school, USC is one of the first places that had a neurologic residency program. And so I applied for and ended up being accepted and got to do the residency program the year right after PT school. And it was really during that time, USC, while I was in PT school, was doing some of the earliest research looking at the effects of high intensity exercise on people with Parkinson's, doing some of the earliest treadmill training research that was using, different ways of measuring to look and see what the outcomes were, not just for the body, but also for the brain, using like transcranial magnetic stimulation. And so I got the chance to work on some of those studies and kind of see what was happening. And I learned right from, the time when I was in physical therapy school that people with Parkinson's could actually get better. And so I think that was what was different than even when I would go out on a clinical, the thought was kind of, people with Parkinson's are going to get worse. We can do a little bit for them and, they can exercise and stretch, but it was kind of not really expecting that what we did in terms of exercise was really going to change the trajectory of their Parkinson's. But more and more research was coming out. Right when I graduated PT school, I got to take the first LSVT big course that was ever taught. Becky Farley taught it in California. It was the first like full weekend course of that content. So I went to that course. And honestly, most of it was like over my head. I really did not know that much about Parkinson's. The residency was my first, job after graduating from PT school. I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. But the residency was a really great experience, learning so much, actually getting mentoring, teaching in the PT school at USC, taking classes. We also got to spend time with the neurologist at USC. So I learned a lot being in that setting. That was a really great experience. And then taking LSVT Big as part of the residency, we were supposed to do some sort of research project. So that sometimes was working on a bigger research project that was already happening, or in some cases, we would do like a case study. And so for me, the goal, since I had taken the LSVT Big course, was to do a case study. So I had a gentleman that I worked with, and I got the opportunity to actually see him 4 times a week for 4 weeks per the protocol, do assessments before and after. And I took lots of video of him while we were exercising. And he was someone who had already had Parkinson's over 15 years when I started working with him. He was in his 70s, had, some freezing, falls, fear of falling, definitely some significant changes in balance and flexibility. And he had been to physical therapy multiple times before and kind of said, it didn't really do all that much for me. It helped while I was there, but as soon as I walked out the door, I didn't really experience a lot of change. So we went through and did the LSVT Big protocol, and he got so much better. His wife couldn't believe it. He couldn't believe it. His sons couldn't believe it. There were things like people were saying, he is calling us. He hasn't called us in years. Like he, wanted to talk to people more, and just his walking got so much better. I had this really powerful video that I believe they still use as part of the LSVT Big course, actually, and he's on the internet. So he was one of the first people I worked with, and I saw someone get so much better. And that was kind of, I feel like I got hooked at that point. It was like, okay, if we actually adhere to what the research says and implement this high intensity, therapy programs with people, they can actually get better and stay better over time. They don't just have to get worse. So it was that experience during the residency that I really just fell in love with, working with people with Parkinson's. And then I worked in kind of various settings afterwards. I never had like a regular full-time job. I always usually did some teaching. I worked in some research studies. I worked in some outpatient clinics, and kind of put that all together for a number of years. And I really like having kind of that diverse career, getting opportunities to do different things, and really working on research studies. I really love kind of seeing the inside of what it's like to work on research and getting the opportunity to do that. So Parkinson's had just always been the population that I really loved working with. And I ended up working in a hospital in an outpatient department that had a really good movement disorders program. And so while working there, that was here in Orange County, I got to work almost exclusively with people with Parkinson's for one-on-one therapy. And then they also, even before I started working there, they had group classes, like a couple group classes during the week that were called aftercare classes, that people could participate in when they were done with physical therapy. Because we know, for older adults or people with neurologic conditions, a home exercise program on paper is just not going to cut it. Like, people don't really follow through with that. It's inadequate. It isn't really what people need if they want to keep getting better. So these classes already existed when I first started to work there. And so I got to participate in those classes and continue to add some new and different types of classes. And I really loved that. And what we saw is that people with Parkinson's, who are supposed to have a progressive neurologic condition, were actually getting better as long as they had access to high intensity, high quality exercise with us. And so I really wanted to expand that program and add more classes. And the hospital where I worked, there just were limitations. There's usually, either space or staffing or other reasons why you can't necessarily do certain things. And so after trying for a couple of years to add more classes, I finally realized, okay, I think I just have to go and do this on my own and leave the hospital. There's a need. There were a lot of people in the community who said, we want more classes. We want to participate in this. We want, to come to class every day of the week, maybe. And so that's when I left the hospital and started Rogue. And so that was, sometimes I forget if it was 2015 or 2000. I think it was 2015. So it's been about 6 years since I left the hospital, and I kind of got started slowly over time and kept doing a few different things for a while. And then now I still guess I still do multiple different things, but Rogue is kind of the majority of what I do now.
That's wonderful. Wow. So that's really like a shortcut of your experience from physical therapy, residency, and the experience of why you chose Parkinson's disease clients. I really believe that they're really wonderful to work with. I have many experience as well, and I'm also like you. I'm an LSVT big also therapist, and I really love that protocol like that. You can really see the big difference, and we're always bringing wonderful stories after that, right? And then I have a lady, I remember when you have your gentleman, I have a lady that you can really see only for those, like I teach her like the sit stand with the arms up, arms back, and then she show off that Thanksgiving to her family. After that, she show off to her Thanksgiving that weekend, and then she has families and friends, and then said, look at me, and then because she get up without pushing her arm, and then who will get up without pushing her arms? And then her friends will tell that, and then no, no, I will do that, and then she raise her arms up, and then that's what I'm doing with my therapist. That's wonderful, right? So how do you think, can you share us how does the growth of LSVP big, and now you are focused more on, and one of, I believe, the therapist doing the PWR.
Yeah, so that was one of the opportunities I got. So I took that LSVT Big course, and then because I was doing a case study with LSVT Big, Becky Farley, who developed LSVT Big, was in California working with someone. And so I got to meet her, and she came and did some mentoring when I was working with that gentleman. And she and I kind of just hit it off. Like, we really just had fun together, coming up with ideas and being creative. So then she had asked me, I had teaching experience as part of the residency, and she was kind of building up, LSVT big courses were getting busier. They were scheduling more. And so they were looking for help. So I started teaching with her. So it was probably about 3 years that I would travel and teach the LSVT big courses with Becky. And then when Becky was looking at kind of wanting to add more into the program and change things, LSVT kind of as a company said, this is a protocol, it's research-based, we really want to keep it as is. And Becky is a super creative person, and she was like, I want to do more and different things and add new things in. So she stopped teaching for LSVT Big and started her nonprofit, Parkinson Wellness Recovery. And because she was such a significant mentor for me, I wanted to keep working with her. So she started a nonprofit based in Tucson, Arizona. They have the Power Gym, which is a gym specifically for people with Parkinson's. So that was obviously a huge inspiration for me and what I'm doing here. And then Parkinson Wellness Recovery also does a retreat each year. So that has been a really wonderful experience to be able to work and volunteer at. It's an amazing, really unique experience where for a week, one time a year, which of course now has been canceled twice because of COVID. But prior to that, it had happened, I think, for 9 years in a row. So for a week, we all go to this resort. There are about 50 to 60 people with Parkinson's. About 2/3 of them have a spouse with them. And we do 3 to 4 hours of exercise a day at this resort. Like, we turn their ballrooms into gyms, and we do all different types of classes. We go out and do pole walking outside in the morning, and we spend all day together with people. And it's this really fun, very unique experience where we learn a lot. Like, all of us who come who are physical therapists and healthcare professionals and fitness professionals, we get to collaborate and brainstorm and work together. And then we get to see, the difference in people and how not only do they change in that week, but how that sustains them. Maybe they go, and where they live, they don't really have any physical therapists in their area or any group classes, but they're able to take what they've learned in that week and really continue for a long period of time after that, kind of building on that energy. So the retreat has been an amazing experience. And then I started teaching with them. Once they started continuing education courses, I started teaching with them. And so up until, again, COVID, I was teaching and traveling those courses. Now they are doing them virtually from the Power Gym. And so I haven't helped with any courses recently. But yeah, those are still available virtually. And basically the difference, LSBT Big, I think, is a wonderful protocol. And obviously there's ways that it can be expanded and kind of altered. Like Power Moves, I think partially just because Becky had developed the LSBT Big exercises, and then over time kind of learned new things when working with people, and it's evolved. So the Power Moves are exercises that are also amplitude-based exercises. They have that in common. Some of them even look somewhat the same because we know, stretching and weight shifting and rotation is important. But the Power Moves are a little bit more specific, where it's saying each position that we're going to exercise in. And the basic Power Moves are in sitting, standing, quadruped, prone, and supine. We say, okay, in each of those positions, we are going to do exercises to work on posture, which is the power up, to work on weight shifting and balance, which is the rock, to work on trunk rotation, which is the twist, and then stepping. So it's a little bit more, I don't know exactly what the right word is, but it's, a little bit more specific to specific things in each of the positions. And then because the floor exercises are inherently part of the Power Moves, we're more likely to be getting people down on the floor so they can move around and exercise on the floor at home, which is something I feel really strongly about. I think everybody needs to be getting on the floor and exercising on the floor. And then Power Moves also really kind of, the way they look at it is what all the research says is we need to have skill-based exercises and we need to have aerobic exercise, because aerobic exercise is really the type of exercise that has the most research for affecting the progression of Parkinson's. So aerobic exercise is super important, but then we also need to be working on the skills of balance and posture and agility. So there's just some things kind of in terms of how Power has organized the literature and exercise research that is a little bit different. And the feedback we hear from people, Power is not a protocol. So no one's going to say, you have to do exactly this number of sessions per week for exactly this length of time. That was part of our experience too, is that, a protocol is great because usually it does get people to do more than what they would do otherwise. But there are sometimes reasons why 4 times a week for 4 weeks might not be the best for people. For some people, 1 time a week is what works for them because they live 2 hours away, but it would be better for them to come 1 time a week and then exercise from home than not to come in at all. So it's a little bit more of a flexible program in that way.
Oh, wonderful. Thanks for explaining us, because I have a LSPT big, and then also I remember I'm already due for that Power, and then I'm from Delaware, and there's one course close to me that time, and then COVID hit. I said I will not go in person, and then that holds everything. And then I'm looking forward to learn more. I have in our home health company, we are certified LSVT, and then we're learning more on the Power to add up. I love the opportunity of learning more about, you said, on the floor and then supine activities. And I totally believe that you need to begin on the quadruped. It helps them also how to learn to get up, when they fell on the floor. So I'm really sure that they will not be afraid of training on the floor, knowing that they were aware of how to get up, do some activities on that position. That's wonderful. And so, what will be the challenges, and also some of the challenges as a physical therapist working with clients with Parkinson's disease that you remember?
Yeah. So, well, and I was just actually going to say too, the other thing about Power is really fun use of equipment. So that's something else that I think Becky Farley is really kind of a trailblazer for, is like incorporating really fun equipment that enhances exercise, where we use things like TRX straps and all this other fun equipment in very different ways. Like sometimes it's equipment that people have had, but they never thought to use it that way. So that's also one of the really fun things about the courses. The Power courses is just getting new ideas and kind of all this fun new small equipment to use. So challenges, I would say, are, definitely people who've had Parkinson's a long time and have advanced symptoms, and it's kind of hard sometimes to know where to start. People have decreased endurance and may even have contractures and have really significant symptoms, and maybe their cognition is affected. So, I mean, one of our goals is to really try to get people as soon as possible after diagnosis and really be able to influence and slow the progression of their Parkinson's and influence the whole trajectory, because it definitely is harder. Just like any health condition, like, you know, cancer isn't necessarily the best comparison because it's very different than Parkinson's, but cancer, we know if you have early detection, you know, your treatment options are so different, and you know, you may be able to essentially be cured of cancer and live a long, healthy life. If cancer is found much later, it's a very different situation. And so, you know, same thing with Parkinson's. I believe people can get better no matter when they come to physical therapy or to any therapy discipline, but it is definitely harder the longer they've had Parkinson's, the, you know, the bigger challenges they're experiencing. So that's one of the things that I find very frustrating. We still have people who come into us and they've been diagnosed for 10 or 15 years and they've never been referred to therapy before. And that just breaks my heart, because I feel like, you know, the sooner people get in, the more we can do for them. So I would definitely say that's one of the big challenges. The other one is, you know, that it is a progressive condition. So therapy for a month or two, and then if someone stops, you know, it'll probably, that benefit will last for a period of time, but you can't exercise for 1 month and really expect that that's going to change your life for the whole year or for the rest of your life. So it is really, you know, for a lot of people, it requires lifestyle change to figure out how they're going to fit exercise into their life, where they're going to do it, how they're going to do it, making sure that they're doing the right kind of exercise that will really change things. So, you know, that's one of the biggest things that we're working with, is not just people coming in for therapy for a specific amount of time, but really talking about the fact that this is a whole lifestyle change for them. There are other things that they may want to do that will also be helpful, like change their diet and optimize sleep and things like that. So it's kind of challenges and opportunities, because these are the things on a daily basis. It is hard for people to fit in all the things they need to do to be their healthiest self, but there's also so much opportunity for people to get healthier. And so, you know, we help, we see people get a lot better, which is really rewarding, but there are definitely challenges. And like COVID was super challenging. So many of our clients who were doing so well, you know, with COVID, and we moved our exercise program online and through Zoom, which was better than not doing it, but it's not the same thing as people coming in and having access to equipment and working with people one-on-one. So COVID is really challenging. And I feel like all of our members now coming back, you know, now we have to like climb out of that hole that COVID caused. So many people had a decline in their function that we now have to try to get them back to where they were before COVID.
Yes, exactly. Majority of our outpatient colleagues who has an outpatient clinic, that's really the big challenge hitting by the COVID. But the good thing in with that is many virtual and wellness already doing it virtually. So that's another thing that they're able to do. So another thing about virtual, you're also doing the online coaching, mentoring, and tell us more about NeuroCollaborative and the Neurospark mentor group. So that's really wonderful. I have some colleagues telling me about the Neurospark. Dr. JJ Maldertini was the one of the speaker in the Geriatric Rehab Summit 2020. And by the way, guys, Dr. McLean will be one of our speaker for this upcoming Geriatric Rehab Summit this coming June 25 and 26. Oh no, 26 and 27. And then so it's really our opportunity. Just by 20 minutes talking, we learn a lot, how much more in the summit. So tell us more about this NeuroCollaborative and NeuroSpark, Dr. Claire.
Yeah, so NeuroCollaborative evolved out of my friend Erin Gallardo and I were in this same area. We actually used to live really close together. We don't live so close together anymore, but we had a really strong professional network kind of coming out of physical therapy school. I did the residency, and so I was connected with a lot of people at USC, both kind of in the neuro world and also people who had started their own practices and businesses and were doing mobile and doing different things. And then Erin was working at Rancho Los Amigos, which is an amazing national rehabilitation center. So she and I were good friends. And then we had this amazing network of people that we would get together with on a regular basis. And everyone loved neuro, and people were doing things that were innovative and working on research studies and starting practices. And so we just had this really strong professional network. And so we started thinking, you know, more people should have access to something like this. And I know, like in California, I think the number of PT schools that we have here in Southern California and the research and strong kind of especially when it comes to neuro, I think we're strong in this area where a lot of areas in the country and around the world don't necessarily have as much, neuro con ed and networking and mentorship opportunities. And so we thought, it'd be really amazing to do something like this. And so we started with a Facebook group, the NeuroCollaborative Professionals Facebook group. And that was probably like 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly when we started that, but we first started with writing some blogs and doing Facebook Lives. And we just started a free Facebook group where people could come in and, talk and connect and learn from each other. And over time, that kind of continued to grow. And we really saw that there was a lot of interest. And Aaron and I both have always been, I never really wanted to own my own business, but I have always wanted to do my own thing kind of, and wanted to follow the research and develop programs. And so it just turned out that the way that I would be able to do that is by starting a business. So I have followed through on that, even though there are great things about it. And then there are hard things about owning a business too. But both of us were kind of business minded, and we really wanted to help encourage more of our colleagues to start businesses, because there's so much burnout in physical therapy and especially in the neuro world. And I'm sure, this is true with geriatrics too, because, geriatric patients can be so complex, so many comorbidities, different things going on. And same with neuro, whenever you're seeing someone with a neuro diagnosis, you don't just see them for physical therapy. You have all this extra paperwork to do. Maybe you're getting them the equipment that they need. You're consulting with other healthcare professionals. So the demands in terms of productivity are just so challenging when people work in clinical settings, at hospitals or outpatient practices. And for one, there aren't even that many places to get neuro jobs. It's often like a hospital is the only place in a town where you could work with the neurologic population. And so we had a goal for one of it, helping more of our colleagues feel comfortable to start their own businesses, because we want them to be able to innovate and work in a way that they love and they don't get burned out. They have some autonomy and control. And then we also want more people with neurologic conditions to have access to other options. So hospitals are a great place to receive care, but we want people to be able to receive care in different types of facilities, different locations, different types of care, maybe physical therapy, but also wellness and group classes. And so we really feel like we can help improve access to care for people with neurologic conditions. And so our first program that we started was called Neuro Tribe. And it was really more specifically about kind of the business side of things. And that was a couple of years ago. Through Neuro Tribe, we met JJ Maudertini. And when she joined, she said, I don't want to start a clinic, but I do want to do education in a different way. And so we started talking with her and realized, that's what a lot of people wanted too, was neuro specific continuing education and mentoring. And so we started talking to JJ probably in like November or December. And in January, we started the Neurospark membership. So Neurospark is basically an online membership that is continuing education and mentoring, something that really doesn't exist otherwise, because it's online, it's accessible to anyone, pretty much anywhere. And we do a lot of, it's like 30 continuing education credits per year. So people get multiple, like each quadrimester. We do the calls live on Zoom so people can join live and learn, but we also record and post them in a video library so people can watch that content anytime. And then we do patient case nights where people can actually get mentoring. We now have office hours nights where people can come and just ask questions about, that day. They might be like, I had an evaluation and it's a diagnosis I've never seen before in my life. I'm doing research, but who has seen things? So, when it comes to neuro, there are just so many potentially rare diagnoses and, different presentations within diagnosis that people are just craving to learn and provide the best care for their patients. So we started about a year and a few months ago. So it's open right now. When this video comes out on Thursday this week, we are open until Friday, which will be the 28th. At midnight, we're open to join. So it's something where people can join if they want to. It's, like I said, continuing education and then mentorship. We also do some kind of full day, either online or in-person courses. It should work out for us to do our first in-person course here at Rogue in September this year. Last year we had to cancel because of COVID. So hopefully this year, everything will be safe to be able to do it. So yeah, we're really excited to kind of, get to hear from our members in terms of what topics they want to learn about. We did a series on spasticity and freezing of gait this last quadrimester. And next quadrimester, we are doing a few different things like soft tissue mobilization specifically for the neurologic population, vestibular kind of review on assessment, make sure everybody feels really comfortable with those skills. We're doing a lot of movement analysis. So we get to just like, pick the topics that people want to learn about and have questions about. So that's been really fun. So that's what we do there.
That's amazing. I am so blessed and I am so lucky to met different people. And then I also met different colleagues. And then they're referring different people. And I'm so blessed that I was able to know you guys. And then I'm looking forward to look also on the Neurospark because I want to learn more, and geriatrics, neuro really overlap. And I agree with you because majority of our clients having neurological, they are in this aging and older adults. And then it's just so sad that it's really like 40s and 50s, you met some with stroke, you know? So
Mhm.
it's really, really very important that we always, guys, improve our skills, improve our skills tool set, you know? So always add something in your toolbox. And this is 30 CEUs. And I like when I hear quadrimester, you know, we only like trimester. This is quadrimester. You're doing some online mentoring live, and then you have an office night. So that's really unique. So looking
Mhm.
forward to be part of that and learn from you guys. And that's really wonderful. It's only like how many minutes, and we learn lots of things from you, Dr. Claire. And we will be looking forward to learn more in the Neurospark group and also in the Geriatric Rehab Summit. And we thank you so much for your time. I know you're very, very busy. So one last thing, what will be our listeners are also caregivers and clients with balance and pulse deficits, you know? So do you have any simple closing tip for us? Exercises, fall prevention, that is your favorite moves, you know?
Yeah. So I would just say that I think people should be getting on the floor every day. And part of their exercise program should be on the floor. So when people get on the floor, they start to feel more comfortable with the floor. They're actually less likely to have falls or to have an injury if they do have a fall. So I'm all about kind of prevention and saying, let's not wait until there's a fall and figure out how to get up. Let's be getting down on the ground and back up on a regular basis. So if someone right now doesn't feel comfortable getting down on the ground, that's when I would say work with a physical therapist, build up your strength and your ability, use a chair for support. There's no problem with that. But first step would just be getting down on the ground and back up comfortably. Once you feel comfortable, then have some of the exercises that you do each day be on the floor. And that's what I just see. I love the floor because once people are down there, it's so safe. So we can do really challenging things, like scooting across the floor, crawling, changing in positions. Those are some of the hardest things that people can do for functional strength, but they're also the most meaningful. They translate to improved bed mobility. So and that's why I'm talking about the floor
Yeah,
at the summit, is because I feel so strongly about getting on the floor, loving the
yes.
floor. We had a whole
Mm-hmm.
routine that we would call Love the Floor. And
Oh,
I think
that's
so many
wonderful.
people, are afraid of the floor. And that's would be my one thing is get on the floor and feel more safe and comfortable getting down there.
Yeah, I remember now when you tell that. That's the title of your talk, right? What's the title again? Floor, love the floor, and then fear. What's the title again, Dr. Claire?
I don't remember.
It's
It's
like love the floor, and then yeah, you are going to
there we
talk about floor, and then love and learn, and then
oh
fall
yeah.
prevention, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Learn to love the floor for
Okay.
function, fitness, and less falls.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. All right,
Lots of
guys.
F's.
So that's a wonderful tip for us before we leave, knowing your weakness and working on it. So it's very important nowadays. We always talk about falls prevention, but we are now going to focus on the falls preparedness, you know? So that's very important. And looking forward, guys, we need to learn more about it. And we are inviting you for the Geriatric Rehab Summit. Out of 11 speakers, Dr. Claire McLean is one of our speakers, and we have wonderful speakers as well. And this coming Friday, so thanks God, it's Thursday today, this coming Friday, which is this week of May 28th. So That will be their last enrollment for their Neurospark. So we also invite you to check it out. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Claire. Thank you so much. Any closing remarks? How we can connect with you? Any
Oh, yeah.
emails or website?
Yeah, my email is Claire, CLAIRE at roguept.com, which is ROGUEPT.com. Our website for our in-person membership is roguept.com, which also has links to our online membership, which is Rogue in Motion. I do post a lot on social media, so I love taking videos of our clients exercising. So Instagram and Facebook under Rogue Physical Therapy and Wellness. Instagram, I think, is the best place to go look at videos because Facebook kind of has a lot going on. So Instagram, I would say at Rogue PT Wellness would be the best place if people want to get ideas for exercises and using equipment in different ways. And then I also try to respond to messages on Instagram too. So that's another way we can connect.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, guys, if you want to learn more, connect with us. We are here in Balance and Fall Support Group. If you have any question, we can connect with you with different mentors and different speakers. And that's why every thanks God, it's Thursday, we interview different innovator and entrepreneurs, different academicians. Dr. Claire, we have many academicians here, physical therapist owner, how they build their therapy clinics, things like that. So we
Mm-hmm.
are here with you if you have any specific cases or questions that you want to know more with our speakers. So just connect with us. So it's me again, Dr. Jenny Yusuf. Thank you so much, Dr. Claire, for this wonderful interview. We're looking forward to know you more and learn from you more. And that's wonderful. Thank you guys for watching us. And it's me, Dr. Jenny, physical therapist and Dr. Physical Therapy. Connect with us if you are in Philippines. Good night, guys. And if you are in United Arab Emirates, salam alaikum, guys, and see you around. And thanks God, it's Thursday. Have a good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.